Greetings, citizens from the rolling hills of the bluegrass. Since it's election time, I wanted to point something out. And you may see or hear in the things that I say that I try to be very universal in my approaches. And some can call me a reductionist, and I'm just oversimplifying and trying to. But it ends up being like a disease, which is very convenient analogy right now. Is that if you do not know what is causing a disease, how do you fight it? Right, and this goes to the military idea. If you do not know your enemy, this is Sun Tzu. If you do not know your enemy, how do you ever expect to fight them? If you do not know what your enemy, what the disease, what your debate opponent is capable of, you don't even have a right to be there to attempt to combat it. And this is exactly what's going on right now with politics, is that for the most part, most of us are busy. We have things to do in our lives. Or we're panicked because the current pandemic is totally upended our way of life. And right now we just need somebody to come in and fix things. And I've always tried to formulate it like this and tell people, imagine that it's a tree, right? A tree in your yard. You can go outside now and look at one, or just look through the window and look at one. And you have the leaves on the tree. The leaves on the tree are the perennial arguments. The ones that come back every year, every election cycle, every news cycle. It's the same set of things we hear day in and day out. And the leaves grow, they become green, represent a life anew. But then as the seasons change, they die. And they fall to the ground and rejoin the earth. And then spring comes back and the leaves come back to life. Those leaves are the arguments we have every single election cycle. They bloom, they blossom, they flower, they leave, and then they leave. They go away and come back over and over again. And we never question it, we never discuss it. Very little gets done, but they always are there the next season. But we never look at the trunk of the tree, where it's gnarled and it has holes in it, where it might be draining sap because ants have burrowed into it, or woodpeckers have tried to get food grubs from inside of it. We never pay attention to the trunk. And if we did pay attention to the trunk, we'd go, well, that's not a very healthy tree. Do you think we should cut it down? I don't know what we should do. But we never pay attention to the trunk. It's always the leaves. We swat at the leaves. We swat at the leaves that go away and come back. But we never look at the trunk. And then we go even further down and we look and we realize that the corruption's in the roots. A healthy tree still giving leaves, but it's rotten at the roots. And we never talk about the roots because that's oversimplifying. That's reductionary or reductionist. It's too simple. We don't look at the roots. And in some instances, most instances, that's where people who try to accrue power to themselves want you to be. They want you to be in the leaves. Just swatting at them. Just swatting, trying to knock the leaves off the tree. But the problem is underground, that you can't see. And isn't that the swamp? Isn't that idea that we were told that the swamp was going to get drained. But day in and day out, it's still there. The roots. Which is unfortunate where some of these leftists are correct. There are problems in the roots. But what they want to do is they only see the trunk and they just want to cut the tree down. And those on the right, Republicans mostly, establishment Republicans, they just want to keep the tree where it is. Establishment Democrats, they just want to keep the tree where it is. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. And then especially the intelligentsia in behind them, the alphabet societies. I don't know if you'd want to call them departments, but they're more societies. They want the tree to stay still, stay standing. But don't look at the roots. Don't look down there. Because that's where the problem is. But we're not going to do that. We're going to follow the news cycle. We're going to follow the education cycle, the political cycle, all the cycles, just so that we can have a little bit of peace and quiet, some normality. Right? Don't shake the tree or the leaves will fall. And we won't be distracted to see the rot in the roots.